Welcome back. You're watching News Centre. Union government think tank NITI Aayog has recommended a stringent plan for production and purchase of EVs across the country. In its report, NITI Aayog has pushed for subsidies, lower taxes and electricity rates for boosting EV demand. That's not all. The think tank has also suggested disincentives for internal combustion vehicles by mandating higher prices. On top of this, NITI Aayog has said that effective implementation of mandates will be necessary if India needs to reach 30% EV adoption in the next 5 years. Joining us right now is Mr. Sudhendu Jyoti Sinha, Program Director of Electric Mobility at NITI Aayog. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. One of the points that your report starts off with is India's EV adoption right now is at 7.6%. We are targeting 30% by 2030. Are we moving fast enough to reach there?
So, thank you, Parikshit, for asking me to be with you. I would put it this way that yesterday when we launched this particular report, and this was after a lot of deliberations. In the month of, say, February and March, we had almost 7 convenings where we connected ourselves to 167 stakeholders, and we attempted to understand that what are the kind of areas where we are probably missing out, and therefore that needs to be raised up. And that gave us some fundamental understanding that helped us to have some new approaches, and that also helped us to kind of work out on the action plans that has to be there. Yes, so it is a set of host of interventions that may be required. One could be that how to strategizing and strategically scaling up the charging infrastructure, how to enhance the EV awareness, scaling up R&D ecosystem is there, how to attempt so that the capital cost gradually gets transported, it gets shifted to the operating cost, the services which are delivered, that it becomes a focus rather than the assets which are procured, and yes, ease of financing. So basically the idea is that how the entire ecosystem can be taken care of. There was a discussion that we need to be working in a more resolute way so that we are able to achieve the targets. Correct? Yes.
Right. I would also like to ask you, sir, you've said that we need to work at a more resolute pace, and that was the feedback that you got after stakeholder consultations. But when it comes to the need for imposing mandates, why do you think mandates are necessary for the industry, including disincentives on ICE?
So I would put it this way, that you see, yesterday also our members so clearly said that mandates means that practically while we have got from the demand side, there are specific incentives are there, then from the supply side also some action has to be taken. So yes, there could be one method of incentivizing supply side also, and there could be another method of creating some small little nudges, some small little disincentives. So but members so clearly laid out that those mandates, those disincentives, they have to be very kind of gentle nudges. They have to be very, very soft ones, not something that is going to create a massive pain point in this transition. And so far we have been able to do well. So maybe that in whole it appears that it is 7.6%, but if you see the specific vehicle segments, then our performance is something that is being, this is globally something of an acclaim. Our bus transition, for example, our 3-wheelers, for example, they are something that is really a big achievement. So I would put it this way, that we will definitely be working out that if it is required, what we could be doing so that the polluting vehicles, they could be, their pace of their growth can be arrested, and in that space, the electric mobility, the clean vehicles can be pushed forward. Correct.
Right. Now the PM e-drive scheme, sir, it will end in March next year. What would be your recommendation, or what is the NITI Aayog's thinking when it comes to incentives post-March 2026?
So PME drive is definitely, as you know, on earlier occasion I have been able to explain that this is one of the very, very aspirational program. So rather I would say that it has built upon FAME 1 and FAME 2 and the multiple set of other interventions that have so far been taken. So PME drive has got very strong focus on public transport, it has focus on charging infrastructure, that is how it is going forward. And in majority of these areas, what we are watching is that it is able to achieve its target. Now what next? Definitely by the time we would be getting into the last quarter, we will be also taking stock and then we'll work that how exactly, what exactly we should be pushing ourselves as a next step to. But my sense is that yes, charging infrastructure that still should be incentivized and maybe that public transport should be one of the focus areas. But what should be the format of those incentives? How exactly we are going to achieve it? That only in future can unfold. But yes, we'll get going on this task of this assignment of working through and thinking through. Correct.
Right. Also, when it comes to having some sort of regulatory support for battery leasing, do you think this is one of the major missing links to bring down the battery cost for the consumer, support battery leasing, battery rentals, battery as a service?
Very correct. So battery as a service is definitely, that is going to be a master stroke because as we know that the battery is almost 35 to 55% of the cost of the vehicle. And as of now, the cost of the EV is definitely little on the higher side. So as we are moving on gradually, the cost is also coming down. The parameters are increasing, cycle life, the range, all those things are increasing. At the same time, multiple finance models are coming into position. So one of them is definitely battery as a service. So battery as a service, correct, I will say that if that can be positioned properly, that will definitely lead to a major lever in this transition. And as you see that some of these OEMs, they have taken to battery as a service model, and that is how they are doing so well, correct?
Right. Now, when it comes to charging infrastructure, do you feel that we're still lagging behind? And if we want to reach that 30% electrification goal by 2030, sir, we won't reach there with this current level of charging infrastructure?
Charging infrastructure, the pace of its growth, that has to be ramped up. Not that action has not been initiated from the central government. A lot of action has been initiated. You are well aware that almost 27,000 charging stations, that is the responsibility that we have given to the oil marketing companies to set up at their own petrol bunks or in the adjacent area. So that is one thing which is going on. In addition to that, the charge point operators, they are also being encouraged through multiple methods so that they are able to take it forward. And we are almost on a constant conversation and kind of coordination with the state discoms so that they take on the responsibility to expedite these charging infrastructure whenever they are requiring such approvals or when they are looking for such assistance. So that is when the state distribution companies, they have to be very forthcoming in these areas. That is just to recollect that yesterday we also there was another report that was also unveiled, which was on electric mobility index. So what we are attempting to do is that we are creating a kind of ranking of the states, and in that rank, charging infrastructure is also one of the points that has got a higher weight. Therefore, our target is that the states must be taking this thing forward. Charging infrastructure must grow up as an independent business, as a new business opportunity, and we should be moving fast so that we are able to achieve our targeted goal. Correct.
All right, sir. And very briefly, sir, about financing, that's an important part. But do you think the financing should now focus more when it comes to public transport, also trucks?
Yes, financing is definitely one of the key areas. And let me put it this way, that now you would see that in last, as compared to last 3 years or 4 years, as we are moving along, then the finance institutions, the banks or the NBFCs, they are having more and more faith, more and more confidence in giving loans to the users, to the operators, to the manufacturers, to the charge point operators, to the entire ecosystem. Now they are willing to give it loan. And let me put it this way, that the government department is also functioning very, very properly in this. There are very much clear-cut guidelines which are being issued, that kind of, these banks, they should be, I would say that they should be forthcoming, they should be forward-looking in giving loans at rather, I would say, at a reduced rate of interest if possible. Correct.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sudhendu, Jyoti, Sinha, giving us your blueprint of how India can achieve 30% electrification by 2030, areas where we need to ramp up our energy. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Centre. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.